Welcome everyone. Thank you for having us here today. It's an honor to be able to present AI Partners at SAP's headquarters. A special thanks to Jorge and the team at ISEA. And I'm here to talk about AI regulation. So we start with an overview. What is AI? Everyone has a different definition of AI, and it is a point of contention elsewhere. And we see that there's a difference between the legal and academic definition. So the academic definition covers everything from LLMs, models, and machine learning, whereas the legal definition covers everything that's automatic decision-making based on data. So in that sense, anything that covers anything that's an algorithm, anything that's a model, or anything that's a system that undertakes automation is effectively an AI system under the regulation. And this is poised to bring in a wide scope of everything from basic chatbots to very sophisticated systems, which we'll cover in the future. Now, this it's best to think of this as looking at past lessons of past regulations. So if you think of GDPR, if data is the new gasoline, as some people refer to, and GDPR is the regulation of the gasoline, then AI is the combustion engine. And the EU AI Act is the regulation of the combustion engine, because it essentially ingests, processes data to produce an output. So what is the EU AI Act? Well, again, everyone has a different take on it, but it's ostensibly a risk-based, technology-neutral, and human-centric approach to regulating AI systems. You rate the AI system based on its risk of harm, physical, emotional, psychological, and otherwise, to an individual's health, safety, and fundamental rights. It's very complex in how it draws influence. So it's got a bit of product safety, it's got a bit of consumer protection, it's got cybersecurity, it's got data protection. It's almost the a la carte of regulation. Like GDPR, it's extraterritorial or cross-border. So under Article 2, it would cover any presence in the EU, which would include employees. So that would bring them within scope. So any enforcement of that would be done by the respective national authority. So as a French citizen or French employee, it would be the French regulator, German regulator, and so on and so forth. They're all accountable to new governance bodies, which we'll come on to, which have been set up. So you can think of this as an entirely new ecosystem that has been set up to regulate AI. So we draw on GDPR, the fines for non-compliance, which affect senior decision makers who have a business that operates in Europe. So the one that I'd like to draw attention to is the one on the far left in the dark red. So violating prohibitions on certain AI systems, which we'll cover, per algorithm, system, or model, can result in a fine of 7% of global annual turnover or 35 billion euros. We'll cover when these come into play in the timeline, but it is important to note that there are staggered timelines for this regulation, and the first deadline that applies is the 2nd of February 2025. So less than 6 months for any prohibited systems to be identified and either de-risked or phased out. And the others apply to various other actors and operators and people in the value chain. And we'll come on to those and how it relates to the supply chain. So you have the 4 risk levels, the highest risk at the top, then you have the cascading down, and it just shows you what the different types of risk levels are. Most of the provisions apply to high-risk systems. An important point to note is that any company that has one high-risk system would have to publish it as part of its digital strategy within the next 2 years. So we cover these are a list of unacceptable risk systems, which are covered under Article 5. We've got social scoring, subliminal manipulative techniques, biometrics, etc. The top one we foresee being a very big issue for anyone in marketing or public relations, because you could argue that those types of systems deploy mechanisms that are beyond a person's consciousness. So very subtle marketing techniques that are used to induce someone to, for example, buy a product or service are very likely to be prohibited. For example, if Amazon are using these techniques using machine learning to analyze your behavior and then target you with very specific advertisements to get you to purchase it based on when they know you're most likely to purchase it, that could potentially get you into a lot of trouble. Again, as an example, there's a German GmbH who did a study of around 110 systems. It took a team of 20 computer scientists to do a study of 110, and 40% of those they couldn't identify because they were too complex. And these are some of the smartest minds in the AI space that were specifically targeted for doing this. So that gives you a scale or an idea of how big the problem is going to be for enterprises. So anyone with big distribution channels, it's going to be a problem. There are a list of de facto high-risk systems. Again, biometrics being a key one here. Employment, law enforcement, education. A good example would be anyone if you're using an AI system to screen CVs, for example, these ones would be high risk. So they'd be allowed, but they would be subject to very rigorous compliance requirements, so high risk. The European Commission actually did a study when this proposal came out, and back then they anticipated 10% of all AI systems would be high risk, but we foresee that enterprises will be strongly incentivized to either de-risk or have as few of these high-risk systems as possible because of the onerous requirements and the compliance cost to maintain them. So who's affected? I'll go through each of these terms in order, but it's very apt we're here at a supply chain conference because this is what you call the AI value chain. So it affects everyone across the value chain who's involved.